Greetings and salutations, it is I, your Lord and Savior, Lord Monarch, back to you again with another Top 10 video. This Top 10 will be discussing Top 10 video game rival characters. Rivals to the protagonist of whatever game you're playing at the moment. Now, obviously, just like the other top 10 videos, I will be going over top 10 rival characters in video games that I have played. And we will be starting from lowest to highest. So, starting at number 10, Godot from the Ace Attorney series. Why is he on my list? Well, aside from the fact at the start of the game, Godot is just shrouded in mystery. As you continue to play through the game Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, you learn more and more about Godot, who he is as a person, his past, his character. Why does he have so much beef with Phoenix Wright? And, you know, it's very interesting that beef that he has with Phoenix Wright, it mainly stems from his own inner self-hatred. And why is Godot such an amazing rival? Well, as you're playing Ace Attorney, you really see that Godot really is the rival that pushes Phoenix Wright to his very limits as a defense attorney. No other prosecutor like rival, well, except for Manfred von Karma, but then again, Manfred von Karma, he's a villain, he's a final boss kind of guy, he's not a rival. And despite how much I love Miles Edgeworth, and I feel like Miles Edgeworth is the best character in the entire series, Godot, again, this guy just pushes Wright to his absolute limits. And at the final trial in Trials and Tribulations, the final trial in that game, as well as the hardest trial in that game, Godot and Wright just go at it back and forth. It's a really intense court case. And this is it. This is the moment where if Phoenix doesn't defeat Godot here in court, Godot will never ever acknowledge Wright as a proper attorney, and he'll never see Wright as good as an attorney that Mia is. But despite Go's pressure, despite Godot's tenacity, Phoenix Wright, he overcomes all that pressure. He proves to Godot he's not just as good as an attorney that Mia is, no. He's better. Godot finally acknowledges that, and he accepts the fact that the only reason that he's been so hard on Wright throughout the game is because he hates himself for what happened to Mia. You want more details? I highly suggest you guys play the game. And honestly, at the end of the day, what is a rival? Is not a rival someone that pushes you to your limits so that you could be better? And that's what Godot did. And honestly, he's so cool with the fucking visor and the reason why he has the white hair. Also, fun fact, Godot, aka Diego Armando, he's Latino. Now, how many badass Latino characters do we have in video games, let alone Japanese video games? Godot's awesome. Number 9, Vile from the Mega Man X series. Now, some of you guys are thinking, Oh wait, Vile, he's a main villain. Well, technically Sigma is the #1 main baddie in the X series. He's the main arch villain. Vile is definitely in the lines of a rival character, or arch rival, however the fuck you want to call it. Why is Vile a rival? Well, aside from the fact that he fucking abhors X, he is revolted, detests X. Whereas X stands for connection between humanity and a robot kind, and peace, love, respect, understanding, stability. Vile says fuck that. Vile says robot kind is better than humanity. Robots should rule over humanity. Why the fuck should robots serve humans? And X is weak and he's too soft-hearted. He has no right being a maverick hunter. He has no right being out here. X should be scrap metal. Why does so many people like X and have such a high opinion of X? Vile constantly going out of his way to fucking torment and fucking destroy and humiliate X. In Mega Man X1, where you have the first boss fight with Vile at the intro stage, Vile is using the Mech Walker. What's he doing? Even after X technically defeats Vile in that boss fight, gets Vile's health all the way down to nothing, Vile just grabs X with the walker, utterly humiliating him, making him utterly fucking helpless. In Mega Man X3, Vile gets an upgrade, and the only thing that's on his mind is X getting revenge, destroying and turning him into absolute scrap metal. Vile and X, I guess you could say they're polar opposites of the same coin. And at the end of the day, Vile just can't help but acknowledge, despite how much he hates X, he's just got to acknowledge that X truly holds the key to evolution for robot kind. Number 8. Meta Knight from the Kirby series. Why is Meta Knight on this list? So aside from the fact that he's really cool and badass, as the anime would call it, he's a Star Warrior. Meta Knight's rivalry with Kirby, him and Kirby's been going at it for years, in video games, of course. Meta Knight is mainly fighting Kirby to test Kirby's metal, to see how tough, how strong, durable Kirby is, to train Kirby, help Kirby get better. They're always going at it. In the early Kirby games, before Meta Knight throws hands with Kirby, crosses swords, Meta Knight will usually place a sword in front of Kirby to pick up so that they can have a proper sword fight. I don't think Meta Knight does that anymore, but trust me, the boss fights between Kirby and Meta Knight, really intense stuff. And again, as I said before, what is a rival if not someone constantly trying to push their opponent to their very limits? Furthermore, I just love Meta Knight's sense of responsibility, chivalry, honor, and loyalty. He's a really cool fucking character. He's really badass. And come on, that sword, that mask, that cape. I know Kirby characters are cute, adorable, lovable, and huggable, but Meta Knight just looks so fucking badass in that outfit. Despite the fact that, you know, he's the same species as Kirby, and, well, he looks adorable when he doesn't have that mask on. Number 7, Solo, aka Rogue from the Mega Man Star Force series. Why is this guy on the list? Well, Solo, or Rogue, is a very fascinating, interesting character. A unique, fascinating past. So aside from the fact that Solo is the last survivor of an ancient civilization by the name of Mo, he's just a loner. He's a lone wolf. He does things on his own terms. He does things his own way. He doesn't really care about friendships and loyalties or intimacies. He thinks people that work together, for the most part, they're weak. Especially when you take them down one by one, alone by themselves. People in general are just weak fucks, and he has a point. Whereas Geostellar is someone that heavily relies upon the bonds that he shares with people. Solo says, fuck that bond shit, I'm gonna do stuff on my own. Whereas Geostellar is more of a long-range kind of fighter because of his Star Force Mega Buster. Rogue prefers to get up and personal with his punching, kicking, his sword slashing. Geo and Solo / Rogue, they are truly polar opposites, different sides of the same coin. And again, their fights in the Star Force series, very intense fights that they have, not just gameplay wise, but story plot wise as well, constantly pushing each other to each other's limits. Again, that's what a rival is. Number 6, Ash the Bloody from Tales of the Abyss. Now, I've spoken about Tales of characters in my past top 10 videos. One of the top 10 videos where I talk about, the villains. I talk about Van, who, ironic enough, he's the main antagonist of Tales of the Abyss. I talk about the protagonist, Luke Von Fabra. And now I'm talking about Ash the Bloody. So, who is Ash the Bloody? Aside from being the rival to the protagonist of Tales of the Abyss. Ash's real name is actually Luke. The Luke that you play in Tales of the Abyss is a clone, a replica. So the protagonist in the game is actually a shadow of one of the antagonists in the game. So, why is Ash the Bloody a rival? And why is he so damn good? Well, aside from the typical pushing characters to their limits, Ash fucking hates Van and Luke. Van kidnapped Ash as a child, made a clone of him, took him away from his parents, gave him a new name, and forced him on the Vanguard. And Luke, the clone, took away his past, present, future, stole his home, everything. So Ash, aside from the hatred that Ash has for his teacher, Ash just can't help but hate the Luke clone, the replica. But here's the interesting part. Near the end of the game, the final dungeon in the game, you have a boss fight between Luke and Ash. It's just one-on-one to see who's the better Luke, the original or the clone. Luke insisted on not fighting and suggested, this part of the dungeon where we're in, you could go on ahead and you could defeat our Master Van That's right, Van trained both Luke and Ash to use the sword. Hence why they have the same sword fighting style, sword fighting technique. And, well, despite the fact that the replica Luke wanted to be humble and meek and, he feels sorry for the original Luke, and replica Luke is like he shouldn't even exist in the first place, Ash just wouldn't accept it. He wouldn't accept a handout. He wouldn't accept Luke being humble and meek, or even replica Luke looking down on himself. Ash was just angry and frustrated, saying, you stole my life, you stole my past, present, future, regardless if you meant to do it or not, regardless of who you turned out to be at the end of the day. We're both individuals that trained with Van. We both have a vendetta against our old master. I refuse for you to look down on yourself, and I refuse to you to be so fucking nice to me. You and I are gonna duel to the death to see who gets to have the final fight with our master. Who is the real Luke? Who is the most Luke of us all? And ironic enough, in the Tales of series, you have boss fights where, if you lose, the story still continues. If you win, you lose in the story, but at least you get experience points, money, and maybe an interesting item. If you lose to Ash in that boss fight, that's a game over, and you have to start over again. Meaning, you have to defeat Ash. Once Luke finally defeats Ash in that fight, Ash finally acknowledges that Luke is more than just a replica of himself. He's his own person. And Luke he's evolved, he's transcended that of just being a replica. And Ash had no choice but to respect that and encourage Luke to go on ahead and to take vengeance for the both of them on their former master. And ironic enough, when these two characters are fighting each other, there's this interesting song being played in the background. It's like a remix of the main theme of Tales of the Abyss. I believe the name of the song is called The Meaning of Birth. And it really gets you thinking. The fight between Ash and Luke, or Tales of the Abyss as a whole. Again, if you paid close attention to my other top 10 videos, you know that Van replicated the majority of humanity to fight against this divine document known as the score, because the score can determine what's going to happen in the present and what's going to happen in the future, and no one is able to escape it. The score talks about destiny. He's trying to fight destiny. He's trying to get away from it. He hates the score. Hence why he created replica Luke in the first place. Is replica Luke just a clone of Ash the Bloody? Is he just a foolish replica, a puppet created by Van to do Van's bidding? No, he's more than that. And for Ash and Luke to have that fight while that music is playing is really deep. The rivalry between Ash and Luke, why it's really special, it's not just about who's the better who's the realest one of them all. A lot of times in life and society, people will label us, judge us. They'll say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're better off doing this, you're better off doing that. People label us, judge us, They say, stay in our lane, so to speak. You're meant to do this. Tales of the Abyss says, it doesn't matter what destiny or fate has in store for me, what other people say I'm supposed to be. I decide who I want to be. I get to choose who I want to be, regardless of all the other factors or what anybody else says it does. I'm me, and I choose to be me, regardless of people's views and opinions. And it's like the fight between Ash and Luke and pushing each other to their very limits, going at their best for one of them to come out on top at that fight, to overcome all the ridicule, the self-doubt, what they were created to be, their original purpose, to say, no, I refuse to be that. I'm going to be what I want to be, is a really deep, powerful moment in that game, in the Tales of series, and honestly, in my honest opinion, in gaming history, that I don't think enough people talk a lot about. Heavily recommend you guys play Tales of the Abyss, but yes, that is why Ash is number 6 on the list. Number 5, Wolf from the Star Fox series, also the leader of Star Wolf. Wolf is a mercenary, a criminal mercenary that loves to work for the dark side, for the villains. That's why he loves doing jobs for Andross. Now, despite the fact that, Fox McCloud is a fox and Wolf O'Donnell is a wolf, they're both canines. And despite the fact that Fox usually works for the side of good, he works for the government to keep the Lilat system safe. And Fox doesn't give a shit, he's a fucking criminal and he does whatever he wants when he wants to. Fox and Wolf, they both respect each other as pirates, as mercenaries, regardless of the fact that they fight for different sides. You can tell they deeply respect and honor one another. In Star Fox or Star Fox 64, the first games in the Star Fox series, when Wolf and Fox are fighting each other, you'll hear Wolf make comments about Fox. He'll say stuff like, not bad, Star Fox, or rather pretty good, Fox, but I'm better. Or like in Star Fox Assault, where, the Aperoids are attacking Corneria, and Fox needs help to get rid of the Aperoids that's in the city, that's on the planet. And, these Aperoids affects everybody, the good guys and the bad guys. And Wolf just selflessly allows Fox to hang around on his R-Wing and shoot down the Aperoid threat. And near the end of the game of Star Fox Assault, the final level, in pursuit of the Aperoid, Star Wolf pretty much low-key sacrifices themselves, holds off the Aperoids while Team Star Fox goes on ahead looking for the Aperoid Queen to put her down. These two individuals, they're polar opposites of the same coin. They're on different sides, but they respect each other, again, as fellow mercenaries, as pilots and leaders of their own respective teams. And Wolf is just so fucking cool, he's so fucking badass. I mean, he's fucking Star Wolf. He is Star Wolf, man. Love Wolf O'Donnell. Number 4, Raven from Gravity Rush. Heavily recommend you guys take a look at the Gravity Rush series. Really good. Why is Raven on the list? Well, Gravity Rush 1, the game where she made her debut. Her and Kat had a bit of a falling out, a bit of a misunderstanding. Raven was trying to protect some kids that she grew up with, and she's under the impression that Kat means to cause those kids harm, and that Kat is evil and Kat needs to be stopped. Raven and Kat go at it a couple of times. It's really interesting. In Gravity Rush 1, there's only 2 characters that have those astral-looking pets and that can use gravity powers. And that's Kat and that's Raven. They are the only 2 characters in the first game that can use gravity powers. Of course, in the second game, it's a little bit different. We learn there are other people that have those gravity abilities, but again, let's focus on the first game here. So aside from the fact that Raven is this fascinating girl shrouded in mystery, what her deal is, what she's all about, and the first game she comes across as somebody very aggressive, more about resolving issues with her legs, because she's all about those kicks rather than talking it out. She's just really cool. And again, her and Kat, that rival boss fight, very intense stuff, very interesting stuff. One of the most intense boss fights in the games. They both have this superheroine vibe, or rather, Kat is more of the superheroine, and I'd say Raven is like a vigilante. Raven doesn't really like go out of her way to like help others. Raven is more like she just does her own thing when she's ready to do it. So yeah, would really like another Gravity Rush game to learn more about Raven. But I guess Raven is on the list because, well, it's one of those situations where it's like, this character is cool because they're a rival to this character. Because you don't really know too much about Raven. Again, this is a character shrouded in mystery. And the protagonist is Kat, aka Alula. It's just interesting because, again, Raven's the only one in the game, the first game, that has the same abilities as Kat. Raven just comes across as just really aggressive and not open to conversation. The boss fight is really cool. The music is really good. Raven is not really someone of a lot of words. She's more, I'm gonna kick your ass first, I'll ask questions later kind of person. It is really cool how, like, at the end of Gravity Rush 1, Raven and Kat get along, and, you know, they create a nice friendship, and there are moments in Gravity Rush. Also, there's a Gravity Rush animated shorts. I also advise you guys to watch that. The animated shorts for Gravity Rush. You're gonna see Raven and Kat going out of their way to find children that were kidnapped and used as lab experiments. Yeah, Raven loves children because, again, she grew up with Gravity Rush's equivalent of the Lost Boys, like in Peter Pan. Kids that just wouldn't grow, and they're stuck and they want to go back to their parents, but they don't know how. And Raven was like the #1 person that would look after these kids and take care of them while trying to get them back up to the surface world. So, bottom line, long story short, she's a character shrouded in mystery. She's the rival to Kat. She's really cool. Love to learn more about her. I love her boss theme music. And I know it's not much to go on like I went on with the other characters, but hey, that's why Raven's on the list. It's my list, and she is on the list, and that is the reason why she's on the list. Continuing the list. Number 3. Riku from the Kingdom Hearts series. Why is Riku on this list? And more importantly, why is he in the top 3? Well, aside from the fact that Sora and Riku, best friends, grew up with each other on the Destiny Islands, these two kids, they would constantly play fight with each other with those toy wooden swords. You played Kingdom Hearts 1, you know what I'm talking about. Constantly testing each other, pushing each other past their limits, also always looking out for each other. They're bros, best friends. So, in Kingdom Hearts 1, at the start of the game, Riku is there by his lonesome, and you challenge Riku to 2 different types of challenges. One is the toy sword fight, and the other is you guys race. And Riku's quite a challenge in those 2 moments at the beginning of the game. Later on in the game, when you make it to Hollow Bastion, apparently you find out that the original owner of the Keyblade that Sora's been running around with actually belonged to Riku. Play Birth by Sleep, you'll understand why that is, why that Keyblade belongs to Riku. Mickey was looking for Riku this entire time, not Sora. But, yada yada yada, Sora gets the Keyblade, apparently has a stronger heart than Riku. Sora and Riku, they have their real rival boss fight. So, aside from the fact that Sora and Riku, they're best friends ever since they were kids, they've been pushing each other past each other's limits, and Sora is heavily on the side of light, and Riku is in the side of darkness, or to be precise, the twilight side, but he has a way with the powers of darkness. Riku and Sora, if you want to call it that, they kind of like share like a Superman and Batman kind of relationship, like how Superman and Batman, they're actually like best friends. Superman is usually doing his do-gooding during the daytime. Batman does his do-gooding at night. Superman takes a more lighter approach. Batman takes a more darker, more intimidation kind of approach. And in a way, a lot of people, not only is Superman and Batman best friends, but Superman and Batman, they're also rivals. And you could say the same thing about, Sora and Riku. I'd say that's like the best way to really describe their dynamic. Riku's not afraid to get his hands dirty, to do the dark shit that Sora is incapable of doing. Like literally jumping into the realm of darkness to close the door to darkness, like in Kingdom Hearts 1. Wield the power of darkness, literally have 1v1 fights with Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, Xemnas is heartless. When Sora's doing Lord knows what. Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Sora fell into a deep sleep. It was up to Riku to drag Sora out of that deep sleep. Riku was the one who passed the Mark of Mastery exam. Sora fucking failed. But honestly, when you look at all the stuff Riku's gone through and what he had overcome, he clearly deserved it a lot more than Sora did. Even Sora acknowledged that. In Kingdom Hearts 3, when we were fighting the heartless, the nobodies, the unversed, and then at the end of that long, hard-ass fight, when there's, what do you call it again? What, the heartless, the demon tower or whatever, is just a fucking huge horde of heartless created this enormous-ass tornado coming straight for us. Sora lost hope because of the overwhelming force of darkness in front of him, but Riku, he said, "Come on, Sora, stand up. I know you don't mean to quit. I know you don't mean to give up. You've never given up before." I guess you could say like Riku is as much as a rival as he has Sora's best friend. Constantly pushing each other to their limits. They're there to help each other out. Like, again, and I mentioned this in my top 10 hardest boss fights video, where in Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora and Riku, they work together to defeat Xemnas. Riku is that lone Twilight Prince of Darkness, or rather the prince that's in the Twilight. Again, moving in the shadows, while Sora roams heavily in the path of light, Riku is in the shadows, in the Twilight, looking after the real deep dark threats aimed at Sora, and he's taking them out. And again, Kingdom Hearts 1, they've had a long rivalry going on ever since they were kids. What else could I say about Riku? I mean, the dude's just... He's a fucking badass, man. Whether he's doing the lone wolf act or he's doing the whole gotta help out my friends, dude's a fucking badass. Although, as much as I would say Sora and Kairi is really cute, I'm not gonna forget those fucking memes that the Kingdom Hearts community did in the past, when they would heavily imply that Kairi should go to Riku, and the games also heavily implied that Sora and Riku also fought for Kairi's romantic affection. Spoilers, Sora won that fight, but Riku's got other better shit to do anyway. Number 2, Shadow the Hedgehog from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. I mean, just look at him, and look at Sonic. Shadow is literally anti-Sonic. I mean, if you look at Shadow's original concept art when they were designing his character, dude was literally meant to be, or rather he still is, fucking anti-Sonic. Yeah, Sonic runs fast. Shadow moves pretty fast too. I think in an interview with the creator of Sonic, I can't remember his name right now, his name eludes me, but the creator of Sonic, or rather the creator of the Sonic Adventure games, he mentioned that he doesn't really know who would win in a race, whether it be Sonic or Shadow. I personally believe it's Sonic, But then again, Shadow can teleport, so he needs a Chaos Emerald to teleport, but I think he can teleport a lot more better than... Well, I want to say he could teleport better than Sonic can, but then again, Sonic did teleport with a fake Chaos Emerald, like in Sonic Adventure 2 when he got out of their fucking space colony arc, getting ready to... Well, not the space colony arc, what do you call it again? That escape pod from the space colony arc heading down to Earth. Sonic used the fake Chaos Emerald to escape the explosion. So, it really makes you wonder who could do Chaos Control better. But anyway, I mean, Shadow isn't just a hedgehog, he's the fucking anti-hero, you know, again. Sonic is the good guy, fights on the side of good. Shadow, he's not afraid of getting his hands dirty, he's not afraid to do whatever it takes to get the job done. Even if it means working for the side of evil, like helping out Dr. Eggman, or helping out Black Doom, and the rest of the... What are they called again? The Black Arms? Yeah, the Black Arm aliens. I mean, Shadow was literally designed to be Sonic's rival. And, yeah, Shadow is a fucking edgelord, but I'd say he's one of the few edgelords that... He's really cool. He's really badass. Whether he's doing the whole lone wolf loner shtick, or he's together with his crew, Team Dark, getting some of the most difficult, darkest, shadiest missions in the background, and Shadow's done. Shadow's pretty cool. And I dare say he's one of the few people that could push our favorite blue hedgehog to his limits. Again, whether it's in a race, whether it's in a fight. Shadow's really badass. And if you played Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game, a game that's obviously all about Shadow, you know, aside from him being super edgy and using guns to fight, I mean, the way how he took down the Black Arms, especially when there was a situation in the game where Sonic and the crew, they couldn't really do anything. So Shadow had to come in and clean up the rest of the Black Arms. I think Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game, really gives you the proper idea of Shadow, who he is mentally and overall his character. He's just a guy that does whatever he wants to do. He has his own honor, pride, his own way of doing things. He doesn't mince words. He's fucking Shadow the Hedgehog, man. And the guy just doesn't give a fuck. You can't tell Shadow nothing. He does what he wants to do when the fuck he's ready to do it. And that makes this guy number 2 on my top 10 rivals list. Now, number 1. Big number 1, the number 1 rival on my list. And some of you guys that know me, that pays close attention to me, my channel, what it's about, my channel's origins, y'all probably saw this coming. The number 1 rival on this list is Blue from the Pokemon series. I mean, come on, you guys had to have seen this shit coming. It's fucking Blue. The OG, obnoxious ass little shit of a 10-year-old Pokemon trainer, Mr. I'll smell you later, having ass. Fucking Blue. What do you do? Having a higher Pokédex count than you do. Making it to the Elite Four and becoming the champion before you do. Having a really good master plan team before you do. Constantly talking shit. All the while with the whole, I'll smell you later. And when you just battle Blue and whoop his ass in a battle, and This fucking snarky ass, insecure ass, double standard ass comments when you whoop his ass in a battle just feels so fucking good. Especially when you take the fucking title away from him. But it's like, Blue isn't just on the list of video gaming's. You know what? Let me rephrase that. Blue isn't just the best rival in the Pokemon series. Blue is literally practically the best rival in the series of video games, period. You know? And I believe it was mentioned that Blue and Red practically grew up with each other in Pallet Town, but yeah, like this cocky, pompous ass, perfectionist-like asshole, fucking Gary Oak's grandson, Mr. Destined for fucking greatness, Mr. fucking 2 steps ahead of you, no matter where you go, no matter what you do. Mr. became champion before you do. Again, gotta reiterate, he emphasizes, he embodies what it means to be a rival. Not just in Pokemon, but in gaming, period. He is the #1 rival, hence why he is, or rather deserves, #1 spot on my top 10 video game rivals list. Mr. Smell You Later, don't you feel like one lucky happy son of a bitch being #1 on my fucking list. And you guys watching this list, whether you're somebody that heavily indulges the Pokemon community and you play competitively, or you're just a gamer in general and you play video games in general, you all have to admit, Blue is not only Pokemon, but he's gaming's #1 fucking rival. He really does embody what it means to be a rival. Pushing the protagonist to his limit. Pushing the protagonist to get better and better. Because you just want to kick his snarky, pompous ass. Always thinking ahead and literally being ahead while you somewhat struggle to catch up to Blue's greatness. #1. #1 is Blue. So yeah, that's my top 10 list. Honorable mentions in this list would be Knuckles the Echidna, Sonic the Hedgehog series. Knuckles, ironic enough, he's the OG rival to Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic's blue, Knuckles is red. Sonic is speed, Knuckles is power, the OG rival. It's not really been so much of a rival nowadays, but if you've played, you know, the original Sonic games like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic Adventure, yeah, there's bits and pieces of that rivalry still there. Another honorable mention, Bass from the original classic Mega Man Fighting Robot series. I mean, Dr. Wily literally created Bass to be evil anti-Mega Man. The same way how Shadow is meant to be anti-edgy Sonic. Bass totally obsessed with trying to destroy Mega Man and prove that he's the #1 robot, because again, that's what he was designed to do. He was designed to rival Mega Man in every way. Designed to destroy Mega Man. Sadly, he could never win, he could never succeed, but you gotta give him, you gotta put props on his name for taking the whole I must defeat Mega Man above and beyond his programming. The next honorable mention, Dark Pit, aka Pitu, from Kid Icarus Uprising. So, aside from the fact that Dark Pit is just a far more interesting and engaging character than the original Pit from the Kid Icarus games, I mean, the dude could literally fly without the help of Lady Palutena. That's right, regular Pit needs Lady Palutena to help him fly, giving him magical wings and giving those wings the power of flight. And Pit can only fly due to the help of Palutena for a very short period of time. Dark Pit doesn't need that. He could fly whenever, however he wants to. There are no limits to Dark Pit's ability of flight. Dark Pit, aside from just being a much more interesting character, you could call Dark Pit like the anti-hero in Kid Icarus Uprising. Again, like Dark Pit, ready and willing to do dark stuff that regular Pit isn't willing to do. And in Kid Icarus Uprising, there's a moment in the game where Palutena and Pit, they're under some kind of dark influence. Because of that dark influence, it's up to Dark Pit, aka Pitu, to whoop Palutena and Pit's ass to snap them the fuck out of it. Also, for the most part, well, I think they say that Dark Pit and regular Pit, they're equals in terms of combat, but nah, I think Dark Pit is a little bit better, a little bit more powerful. You can clearly see in the way how he fights, he's far more aggressive than regular Pit. I would say play Kid Icarus Uprising to get a better understanding of Dark Pit, his character, because you've probably seen him in the Smash Brothers games. Don't play Kid Icarus Uprising. Just look at a Let's Play. Save yourself the trouble. Do not play Kid Icarus Uprising. I heavily recommend you don't play it. But Dark Pit is my favorite character in the game, and he's a really cool character, and also a really cool rival character. And final honorable mention, Alphonse from Arc-Rise Fantasia. Couldn't fit in the top 10's videos list, but if you are a die-hard JRPG fan and a hardcore gamer in general, like myself, and you've played Arc-Rise Fantasia, Alphonse is the rival to and the best friend of the protagonist, Lark Bright Lagoon, in the game Arc-Rise Fantasia. Why are they rivals? Well, they both want to save the world, but they both have their own unique method in attempt at saving the world from imminent doom and destruction. Lark seems to be fighting for a divine race of people, and Alphonse is fighting for the regular race of people. Lark wants to find a cure to save both the regular race, which is the same race Lark is a part of, and the divine race, and Alphonse only cares about the regular race and doesn't really care about working together with Lark. Alphonse is a pretty cool guy, very honorable, very loyal, very dutiful. Darn shame how later on in the game, you know, there's that falling out. As always boils down to a really bad as fuck shorty tearing brothers apart. Who wants the shorty? Who does the shorty want to be with? Who gets her at the end of the day? Shorty wanted Lark, but Lark was like, whatever. Wasn't really feeling the shorty, despite, not gonna lie, your girl is looking very fine. Alphonse, despite the fact that he's a fucking prince, wanted her, but what are you gonna do? If you ever get the chance to play the game or maybe watch an LP of the game, I heavily recommend it. It's a really good fucking game. So yeah, shit, I wonder what the name of that girl, the female. What was her name again? Annalise? Adele. Yeah, that's her name. Her name's Adele. Yeah. She's a fine redhead. She's also an interesting character. It's a darn shame Adele tore apart the friendship of Lark and Alphonse, but hey, love will have you do crazy things, and especially when Shorty is a bad bitch, shit always goes down. But anywho, yeah, that is the end of my top 10 video game rivals list. What do you guys think about the list? Comment, leave a like, subscribe. What does your top 10 rivals list look like? I want to know. I want to hear it. Mention it in the comments section. Feel free to share this list with people you know, people that are into video games. Maybe they may find this list to be interesting. Maybe you guys watching this list, or who you decide to share this list with, they've never played these games before, they don't know some of these characters, and maybe they may want to indulge these franchises and play the games. Hence why I'm making these lists in the first place, so that people can learn more about video games that they've never played, they've never seen, and branch out. There's so many amazing games out there, so many unique stories, means of gameplay. Go out there and play some games. It's really fun. And when you indulge video games, especially the hardcore side, you meet some cool people. Assuming if you go to conventions and stuff. Cool people that they're not too out of touch with reality. Anywho, so yeah, that's the list. One more thing. So, I've asked this before in my top 10 list prior to this. That's my main protagonist top 10 list. If you guys want to see a top 10 list of the baddest, most attractive, most interesting video game female characters from the video games that I have played, let me know in the comments down below. I want to know, do you guys want to see that list of baddie video game shorties from the video games that I've played? Let me know. I'd be more than happy to make the list. Maybe seeing these bad bitches, they might encourage y'all again to play the games where the bitches are from, you know what I mean? So, again, leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the video with people people that might find the video interesting. Let me know if you guys want to see top 10 video game shorties. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed my list. I hope you guys found it interesting. So, this is Lord Monarch signing off. Farewell, my loyal subjects, to the next top 10 video and other videos afterwards.